Okay, everybody, it shows you that we in news are not immune to working from home issues. Lily had some Wi-Fi issues. We've got her back, though, so now she can tell you the things that I wasn't able to. So I'm going to go back in that other video, look at y'all's questions. If you have any, please let me know. And we're going to throw them to Lily. So first, Lily, tell us a little bit about your interview with Chancellor St. John and kind of about what your takeaway on the financial impact of COVID on the UA system is.
Yeah, absolutely. So like she said, Chancellor St. John and I had a lengthy conversation. He gave us a lot of his time, which is rare right now. And we chatted a little bit about the state of the system at each of the universities. And one of the biggest takeaways from that conversation was that, one, they are planning on welcoming students back on for the fall onto campus. They don't know what that's going to look like just yet, whether it's going to be reduced class sizes, whether it's going to be an option of on campus or like in person or in their dorms or something like that. But if nothing else happens, no extenuating circumstances, UA students across the board at all three campuses will be on campus in the coming fall semester, which is exciting for a lot of people. And then the other big takeaway was that the University of Alabama system is losing a lot of money across the board, actually, at all of its campuses. It varies, and these are really rough numbers, but Chancellor told me that it's about 40 to 50 million in losses for the UA in Tuscaloosa campus. It's about the same at the UAB campus and a little bit less at the UAH campus. So as a result of these losses, the chancellor is considering financial cuts that could come in the form of pay cuts or furloughs or other cost-cutting measures. They've already done a lot to save money. At the very beginning, they froze hiring, they froze development. So like a non-essential like projects like parking lot construction or like the advancement of existing buildings. They kind of put all of that on pause if they could. And that's, at the moment, we don't know when that will return. And then like non-essential travel, stuff like that has already been put on hold. So those were some of the largest takeaways from our conversation. And we're hoping to know like what the state of those financial cuts really is sometime soon. I'll be calling them a lot. And so hopefully we'll find out sometime soon what is coming down at the pipe.
Well, and you talk about some of these, quote, non-essential projects, and I know you're in Mobile, Lily. I am in Birmingham, so if you're in Birmingham, I think everybody knows that UAB often has some construction going on. There are millions, I would say, of people who are always rallying for a new parking lot. So those are going to be put on hold for a while. And we don't know, like Lily said, we don't know the exact timetable of how long these projects will be put on hold for, but they will be put on hold. Something that I thought was interesting too, Lily, that you mentioned in your interview was the CARES Act and that money that the system got from this groundbreaking and record-breaking, rather, stimulus act. So how much money did they get, and is that going to help offset some of these losses?
Yeah, so the CARES Act, it's a huge deal for colleges and universities, and it should not be, the money may not be enough, but as Chancellor St. John told me, it is very helpful, and it's a move that Congress made that is very they very much appreciate it. But it comes close. It doesn't even come close to matching those like $40 to $50 million losses that I just mentioned. So he gave me some rough numbers. I asked him to explain it a little bit to me. So take the university in Tuscaloosa, for example. If they got around $20 million, and the CARES Act stimulus package kind of says half of that money that you guys get, all colleges and universities get, has to go directly to, sorry, there's sirens outside my door. Half of that money has to go directly to the students, right? To help them ease the impact of the coronavirus impact on their lives, right? A lot of them have lost campus jobs. A lot of them have had to move out of their apartments. These changes and stuff. So half of that money is going to students, which is, if the number is roughly around 20 million, we'll take 10 million, shoot it to the kids. And then the rest of it goes straight to the university. Now, Chancellor St. John said the complicated part is that they didn't really give much guidance on how to use it. So that's something that we will see in the coming weeks and months on how they allocate that money to the students and to the campus efforts, right? So they're wondering whether they can allocate the student money across the board, or if they have to look at each student's case on a case-by-case basis, right, to see like what they've actually endured during this time. So,
and that could be a massive project.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So they don't know right now what that looks like for them. And with the campus resources, they're looking into the best ways to use that money. He was very adamant about wanting to spend this money the way it was intended, in the best way possible, to help as many people, because he knows how much this has shook people's lives, right? So we still need to know like how that money is going to be spent, but that's an idea of what the CARES Act is doing for the University of Alabama system.
Now, we're getting a couple of questions on our video about when are students going to be back in school, back on campus. So I know you had a second story yesterday kind of talking about that, but what can you say about the students going to be on these 3 campuses physically in class?
Yeah, so just a friendly reminder, there are actually still students on campus that didn't have a place to go other than their college dorms, and they seem to be doing really well. I also spoke to Dr. Johnson, who is the Senior Vice Chancellor of admissions and like kind of a provost role that we're used to. And she said that those students are doing really well. So we have to keep those in mind. But once other students return, they're saying that it will be on schedule for a normal fall semester. So that varies from campus to campus. But the schedules that are already set, the chancellor said that that's what they'd be going for and abiding by moving into the fall semester. So you can check your schools. So whether the Tuscaloosa campus, the Birmingham campus, or UAH for their schedules. And he says that it should be on schedule. What it looks like when they get there, they're not really sure just yet, whether that is smaller classes or the choice of an in-person or in-dorm education experience. We're not really sure what that looks like just yet.
And if y'all would like to hear more about those kind of topics and those questions, I did an interview with Dr. Selwyn Vickers, about a week ago, and he is the dean of UAB's medical school. He is also on this task force that the UA system has formed about figuring out these issues. How do you put students back in class, on campus, in dorms? Feel free to go watch that. I can link it below for y'all. But something else while I've got you, Lily, is there was a line in that story about how UAB could be facing some cuts maybe sooner than the other campuses, or could face more strict things. Why do you think that is the case?
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know too terribly much on this, because we're still kind of waiting for what that really looks like. But the chancellor did specifically mention UAB because they've been hit really hard during all of this. They serve such a vital role in the state with their medical system. But right now, with the loss of elective surgeries, which should be starting up sometime soon because of the changes in the orders from Governor Kay Ivey, but because of those losses, they've been losing about $70 million a month in revenue. And that has a great impact on the entire campus, right? It's not just the hospital at that point. It's also the college that's linked to it, right? Everybody's impacted when it comes to that Birmingham campus. So that is kind of what we're believing is to be the issue with the cuts coming for the Birmingham campus.
And what about enrollment numbers? I know that UA has said that students will be able to be back on campus in the fall, but there could be a lot of students who are scared or who have personal things going on that they might not feel comfortable going back to campus, or they might not be financially in a place where they can afford to do that. What do these enrollment numbers look like? I know it's kind of early, but what are you seeing there?
Yeah, so it is really early, but this is one thing I really want to talk about because it's actually looking pretty good. I heard from the chancellor and senior vice chancellor that the freshman, like first student enrollment numbers are looking pretty good. They're looking pretty steady for the fall, which is super encouraging right now because a lot of students are considering their future in a new way because of the pandemic. So it's good to hear that these numbers are kind of steady at the moment, but the future is kind of where we get a little bit rocky with the information. We don't know what's really like in store for these campuses when it comes to their students. But the one thing that they're really working on is touching base with as many upperclassmen and returning students, right? Because they have gone through this really difficult transition where they're kind of like ripped out of the last part of their school year and stuff. They're ripped off of their campuses with their friends and their roommates and stuff like that. And that's really hard to go through. So whether they're considering on returning or not is kind of the question. And that was one thing that the chancellor said. That's something that they're looking at and working on really adamantly. They're trying to touch base with all of those students, see where their financial issues lie, see where their fears lie when it comes to safety. And like you said about the task force, they have definitely taken on a weighty role in saying that they want to be the healthiest and safest campus in the country, right? So they're working toward that goal, and students are being constantly told by their admissions counselors, their admissions enrollment representatives that we'll do what we can to keep you safe. Just come back to school, you know?
Right. It's going to be really interesting to see how these things unfold. These kind of what could be considered minor details for campuses, but what right now are proving to be the really important things. So, Lily, thanks so much for sharing.
I mean, the students are the lifeblood.
Oh, I was saying thank you so much for sharing all this. I do want to tell all of our viewers right now a quick programming note. We will be live from the beaches in South Alabama this afternoon, early evening, when those beaches are set to reopen at 5. So you can tune in for that. And then we will also have some videos coming to you tomorrow from places that are open and from stores that are open. We're going to see if they are busy, if people are feeling comfortable enough to go out, or if they are not. So if y'all have any place you want us to check out, please let us know. And Lily's in Mobile. She'll be helping with that. I'm sure I'm in Birmingham, and we'll be checking out that region. So if y'all have any questions or anything regarding UA and the financial impacts that they have faced because of COVID, feel free to contact Lily or leave this in a comment here. We will get it to her. And for everybody else, we will see you later on this afternoon at the beaches, and then we will see you for this show tomorrow.
Thanks, Yvonne.